Next up, we're going to look at the schematic coloring. So we're basically going to assign a color scheme to the plan, and then we're going to learn a little bit about how to manipulate it. So this is your first little foray into visibility settings of a view. When you scroll through the properties, you're going to see a whole bunch of different things that you can modify, like shadows, the orientation of the plan itself, like rotating it. Color scheme is the one we're going to modify. You'll see a bunch of different stuff in there. But obviously, like scale and cropping and all that stuff is there as well. Phasing. But we're going into color scheme. So it's right here. So click on color scheme on the little button that says none. In this menu, you have a few different types of color schemes that you can generate or use or apply. You have spaces, rooms, HVAC zones, and that's not all. You can actually make more. What I'm going to do here is go to rooms, and these are set up so that they're either going to be by the name of the room, or they're going to be by the department that the room sort of signifies. And it's a little difficult because this is a residential building. So there really isn't a department, but I'm going to try and simulate that a little bit. So so let's first off go with name. So I'm just going to quickly hit OK. And you're going to see here that the colors pop up, right? Super easy. It's all kind of preloaded. If you need to modify the colors, just go back into the color scheme and double click on that and pick a new color. I will say this, generally speaking, the saturation of these colors, what you see on screen, it might look good to you right there, but it is really intense when you're looking at it in a page. So we may or may not talk at some point about like color theory and stuff, but generally what I do is I try to keep my color scheme colors like really muted, like put them really, really low in saturation. So I'm just going to kind of bring these down a little bit. Okay. There. So that's a little bit easier on the eyes. I mean, it looks, on this projector, they almost all get totally washed out, but when it prints, basically, like, when things print, they're going to be way more saturated than they are on screen. So definitely err on the side of lighter than darker. So I also realized I missed a room. So that's a good way to kind of check where all of your rooms are placed. So let's look at departments. Departments are dependent on it's a hard-coded parameter that's built into rooms. Okay, and they're a little bit more difficult to work with, but you can see here that there are a few. You could do like a department legend and base it off of the department parameter, or you could do it off of the number of the room. You could do it off of occupancy. And that's really important for like code analysis, that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm just going to leave it on department for now just to show you what it kind of looks like. And I'm going to add a color scheme entry. So let's make a department for, let's just call one, I don't know, working and living. We'll just do 2. Okay, working and living. Like there's a kitchen that you work in, there's a garage that you work in, and then everything else is living. I don't know. Just want to show you how it works. So I hit OK. Right now everything is blank. It's white. You have to assign that department. So I'm going to click on garage, and I'm going to go down to department. I'm going to open up this little pull-down menu, and you see those 2 entries now show up in the list. So I can make this one a working room. I can make the kitchen a working room. And then I'm going to make everything else a living room. Actually, I'm going to leave entry empty because it's not really anything. Okay, is that clear enough? So those are the two probably most common sort of methods of using it. It doesn't have to be departmental. It could be a bunch of other parameters in the room, but that's essentially it. Oh, one other thing that I want to add here. When you're doing schematic plans, especially if you have these open spaces without walls and you're using a lot of room separation lines, I am not a fan of seeing the room separation line itself, right? So notice how it almost reads like it's a paper thin wall, right? It bothers the crap out of me. So you can hide specific elements by category. And that's it's done. We're not going to do templates yet. You can template out views so that all you have to do is apply the template, and all these settings will change the way you and your firm likes it. But I'll just show you how to do it one-off. So the visibility settings can be accessed by the hotkey VV or VG. It's the same thing. So VV will open up this menu, which shows all the elements that are possibly visible in your plan. So what I want you to do under model categories, I'd like you to go down to lines, and I want you to open up lines. Now within this has a list of every single type of model line that is present, or that is in this file, I should say. Not modeled in this file, but it's available. So all I have to do is just turn off room separation lines and hit OK, and those lines go away. So it creates a little bit more of a contiguous sort of look to it. So I'm going to hide these grids by category, and there's your schematic floor plan. Any questions? I can show you any parts of that again that you need to after we're done here. But okay. So this is the stage I want you to get to for today, and before we progress going into next week.